Hey guys, and welcome back to Simplay Sims. If you're new to my channel, hey, how's it going? I am Jen. We're about to dive into the world of creating our own custom content. And for today, we are going to just focus on recoloring. Before you're going to be able to do this for yourself, you are going to need to install two programs into your computer. The first of these programs is going to be the Sims 4 Studio, and this program is 100% free. In the description box below, I'm going to leave a link to where you can download this for yourself. So whenever you are ready to embark on your own custom content, go ahead, click that link and get this software installed. Once you have that done, your next step is going to be getting some sort of a photo editing program, and the software needs to be able to save a file as either a DDS or a PNG file. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to be using Photoshop, but there is a free option out there. The software is called GIMP, and I'm also going to link that in the description box below. So if you have Photoshop, you can use this software, but if you don't have Photoshop, GIMP is an option that is very popular. Now, once you have installed both of those programs into your computer, you're going to want to go ahead and open up the Sims 4 Studio, and at this point, we need to decide what type of an item we want to recolor. The first option you have is to do a build item. This is going to be things like the wallpapers or the floor patterns. If you choose the object recolor, this is going to be creating like an in-game item, whether it be a piece of furniture or like what we're going to be doing today is going to be picture frames, whatever you choose to do as far as like objects that you're putting into the homes once they are built. And then your last option is going to be cast, which are the items that you use in-game when you are creating your Sims. Once you have decided which of these options you are going to do, ours is going to be object, you're going to want to go ahead and select for object, or for build it would be the recolor option. So go ahead and choose whichever one you want. For this tutorial, we are going to go ahead and pick object. Once the program has loaded up all of the objects available to you in the game, you have a few options if you want to narrow down what you're looking for. Your first choice would be to hit the game pack drop down menu. This is just going to list all of the game packs available. You can choose one if you want to see just the items from that. The second tab that you can drop down is going to be for whether you want in-game content or custom content. And lastly, you can just type the actual name of the item into the search bar if you happen to know it. For today, we are going to be using this picture right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click the item that I want and hit the next button. As you can see, Sims 4 Studio has now prompted us to save something. You may be wondering what it is you're saving. At this point, the file that you're going to be saving is essentially just an empty shell that we are going to store our custom content in later once we've put all the little pieces together. So for now, the biggest thing is you're just going to name the file. I'm going to name this Puppy Friends. And you are going to select where it saves to. Just to make things easier, I'm going to be saving this to my desktop. So go ahead and hit save. And now, as you can see, there is a package file on my desktop that says Puppy Friend. And in Sims 4 Studio, we are now looking at the photo that I selected that we are going to use for our custom content. Right now, as you can see, there are 7 options for this particular item, and each of these options changes the photo frame. When I'm making recolors, the first thing I like to do is remove all of the swatches except for the first one. That way, later on when I'm loading my own in, I don't accidentally leave something that I didn't intend to. Now, there are 4 tabs underneath the different color swatches. In the first tab, the catalog one, is essentially just what you see in game when you select this item in the buy catalog. And as you can see, it gives the name, the description, and the price. We will change these up later. The second tab is the texture tab, and this is going to be the one that we interact with the most. Next comes meshes. Don't really mess with anything there. That is for more advanced custom content when you're actually like making items from scratch. And last, we have tags, which we will also be changing when all is said and done. But for now, like I said, we really want to focus on this texture tab. And the first thing that we need to do is export this file onto our computer so that we can change it from what we are seeing right here into the item that we want to make. So go ahead and hit export. It doesn't really matter what you save this file as because it's just kind of the middle piece to where we want to go. So I'm just going to save this as original. And I am going to save this as a PNG file, but if you look, there is also the DDS option. And now you can see that not only do we have the empty shell package file, but we also have our original photo. So now what we need to do is get into Photoshop and take this photo and make it way cooler by adding my dog and his little friend into it. So for now, just go ahead and minimize the Sims 4 Studio. Do not close the program. Just trust me, don't close the software, just minimize it. All right, so our next step is opening up Photoshop or GIMP, whatever software you are using. And what we're going to want to do now is put that into whatever photo software we are using. Now that I've imported the original photo into Photoshop, I'm going to go ahead and take out the part of the image that I need to change. And for this, it is going to be that center blue area. That's going to be where I put the picture of my dog. So I'm just going to use the crop tool and I am going to select all of this blue area and I'm going to delete it. Once that's done, I have essentially created a blank canvas, and I will give you one honest piece of advice. If I was you, I would save this as its own separate file so that in the future, if I ever wanted to make more recolors of this same frame, instead of having to crop out the middle part, I can just reference this. Just think of it as your hard copy that you use to make duplicates later without all of the effort. So go ahead and save as, and we are going to replace the original file with this one. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open a new tab in Photoshop. It doesn't matter what the dimensions are. But I'm going to drag this photo of my dog and my friend's dog onto the new tab, and then I'm going to take that and drag it into the same photo as the frame that I have edited. Clearly, this photo is much larger than the frame is. So what I need to do now is to change the size of this photo to fit into the frame. Okay, so right now the photo is sitting on top of the frame, but if I drag it to the bottom layer, then it is now underneath the frame and I don't have to worry about trimming this photo of the dogs at all. It's lined up now actually kind of perfectly. Now, if you want, you can stop at this point, save this file, and move into the next stage of making your own recolors. But I'm going to take it one step further because I want this photo to feel more like it is a part of the sim world. So I'm going to put a filter on top of it. I'm going to use the oil painting, and what that's going to do is, yeah, see, it's going to just make the realism of the photo a little less our world and a little bit more the sim world, I think. And realistically, I love the preset settings for this oil painting option, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK. And when I put the frame back on top of it, now I feel like it really looks like it could be a part of the sim world, and at this point I am very happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Save As. Now, Photoshop default saves every project you ever make in Photoshop format. So go ahead and change that to PNG because that's what we're going to need later. And at this point, you can name it whatever you want. This part, again, isn't super important because it's not the final project. It's just a little piece of it. I'm just going to name this 1 because I'm going to make a few more options of this recolor. But now that I have typed in the number 1, I'm just going to go ahead and hit save. And I always leave this set the way it is just for the compression and the interlace. So I always just hit OK and move forward. And as you can see, we now have the first recolor saved onto the computer desk. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is, if you're using Photoshop, you're going to want to add a layer that is going to make the canvas black and white. So in Photoshop, it's pretty easy. It's just right under New Adjustment Layers. I'm not very well versed in GIMP, so if you're using that software, you may have to tinker around to figure it out. But once you have turned the frame black and white, the next thing you're going to want to do is add another layer. This layer is going to be a brightness layer, and you're going to want to just turn that up slightly so that the frame goes from being gray to being off-white tone, just wherever you find you are satisfied. I am going to keep it right there, so I'm going to go ahead and just X out of that. And now we have a white canvas option, but if you activate the puppy photo right now, as you can see, the photo is also black and white. How you're going to fix this is go ahead and deactivate the puppy, so all we see right now is again the white frame, and we're going to want to hit Control-Shift-E. This condenses all of those layers that we had open into one, and now as you can see, when I turn the puppy layer on, they are still in full color, but the frame is now white. So we're going to go ahead and save this, and instead of it being 1, it is going to be 2, and now you you can see we have option 1 and option 2. I'm going to go ahead and knock out a few more so that no matter what my color scheme is in future speed builds, I can use this photo if I want to. So let's go ahead and again close off the little puppies so that whatever we're doing, they are not impacted. Now there's a few different ways that we can put some color into this frame. For this one, we're going to go ahead and hit the color balance option. When you start sliding these guys around, you will notice that you start changing the tones of the frames. You are taking that base white frame and giving it just different values of these different shades. So play around with this to your heart's content. If this is the way that you want to go ahead and add the different color tone frames, you will see that you can impact different areas. I was just playing with the midtones. Now I am playing with the shadows. So this is going to go ahead and really punch that color in. They also let you do highlights as an option. So as you can see, that took things a little bit too far, in my opinion. But you can play with them in this manner if you want. I think I'm going to save this one option as a frame, but when you do it in this manner, you are just changing where there is actual color. So as you can see, the transparent window here is still completely transparent. And if I wanted to save this as an option without impacting, because look, if we put the puppies back on, they've changed color. We're going to hit again, Control-Shift-E. We have condensed it down into one row. We can turn the puppies back on and then save this as our third option. That is now saved. We can confirm our options are stacking up. I don't know when we would ever use a purple framed dog photo, but you never know. And then if you are using Photoshop, if you hit Control-Alt-Z, it's going to undo your last option, which will separate these photos back out. From here, you can either double click on the little weight scale image thingy there and start playing with the tone some more. Or if you want to try coloring the frame in a different way, you can just go ahead and delete that layer, and then from the layer menu, we're going to do a new fill layer as a solid color. Go ahead and click OK, and right now you can see that has completely blacked out the photo. I am going to find a nice dark brown tone, and I'm going to hit OK. Now from here, what we can do is we can take the opacity of this and dial it back. Ooh, I almost forgot to turn the puppies off. But I'm going to dial the opacity back so that we start to get the details of the frame. And I actually don't mind this at all, so I'm going to go ahead and just hit enter. Okay, so now that we have a very nice wood tone on this frame, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control-Shift-E. We have made a single layer again, but as you can tell, there is now a tone on top of the transparent area as well, which means it is no longer really transparent. So you're going to want to go ahead and delete that. See how much brighter it is now? It is showing you that we have gotten rid of that toned layer, and now we truly have a transparent background again. So when we turn the puppies back on, bam, we now have a very, very nice picture and a very, very nice frame. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as number 4. And now that we have 4 options, I think we can go ahead and move on to the next part. So we're going to go ahead and pull the Sims 4 Studio back up. At this point, we need to take the 4 recolors we just made and import them into this program. So it is pretty simple. In this texture area, you're going to see the import button right under the export one that we use to pull the frame out of this program. So go ahead and hit import, and here you have the options that we saved onto the desk. So I'm going to go ahead and do number 1 first. Now you're going to want to hit add swatch before you import the next one. Otherwise, you're just going to keep replacing your first swatch. But I'm going to go ahead and hit import again. We're going to click option number 2. We're going to add a swatch. We're going to import number 3. And then we're going to add a swatch, import number 4. Now that we have imported all 4 of the swatches that we want to appear in the game, we need to address these thumbnails because right now it looks like they all have the exact same color option. So the first thing we need to do is move to whichever frame we want to adjust, and we want to click on the color that is directly underneath the word swatch. Once this color scale pops up, pick whatever color you want to be associated with this picture frame, and then you're going to go ahead and move on to the next photo. Do that again. We're going to look for a nice purpley tone here to match the frame. I feel like that's close enough. And then we're going to do it one more time. That looks good to me. So now when we look at them, we can see that the thumbnail color matches the frames close enough where you're going to know which one you're picking. The next thing we're going to want to do is move to the tags area, and we're going to want to take off the colors that are already selected because those are for the old picture, and we're going to want to make them match the colors that you're going to see in your new frame. Now for each of the options. We have changed the tags so they're going to make sense in the game. And the last thing we're going to want to do is change the description. So I'm going to title this, you guessed it, Puppy Friends. And the description is going to say, they are strong. They are beautiful. Corgis. Dot dot dot. The best puppy friends. Does it make sense? Probably not. Am I cool with it? Yes, I am. Lastly, we need to change this price because this beautiful work of art is worth at least 750 simoleons. But now at this point, we have updated the catalog information, we have imported our different swatches and changed the thumbnails to match the frames, and lastly, we have updated our tags so that the photos show up under the right filters. And now we're going to want to go ahead and save this file. Your package has been saved. Go ahead and hit OK. At this point, what you have done is you have taken all of this information and you have stored it into this empty shell, which is technically not an empty shell anymore. It is now a custom content file. You're going to want to go to your PC, followed by documents. Then you're going to want to find electronic arts, select the Sims 4, and then open up your mods file. Go ahead and take that package file and add it into the mods folder, and then you can just close that bad boy up. We are done with that, and it is officially time to run our Sims game. This is the moment we have all been working towards, people. Be excited. Now this part is only really relevant to anyone who's never played with custom content before. If that is the case, then you're going to want to go ahead and open up your menu and you're going to want to go into game options. From there, you're going to select the others tab and you're going to want to make sure that you have enabled custom content and mods. And if you want, you can turn on the script mods allowed, but that really is more about custom content that changes the gameplay. It's like adding in special careers, or there's overlays that will change the way that the world maps look, things like that. That's what you're allowing with this one. This first one is just going to let you put custom content items into the game. If it's your first time turning it on, you will have to restart the game after applying the change, but if you've already had it applied, don't worry about it. We're just going to go ahead and jump into game and check out our new item. So we're going to borrow the Winter's House, which is a family that I play off camera. I'm going to jump into build mode real quick, and we're going to want to filter out everything except for custom content items. And it would help if I was in the buy catalog. Bam, there it is. Okay, so this is, as you guys can see, Puppy Friends, and it is worth 750 simoleons. And the description is, they are strong, they are beautiful, corgis, the best puppy friends. That's so, I love it. It always makes me so excited when I see my custom content show up in the game. Okay, so let's go ahead and place all 4 options. Here we are, guys. So after all is said and done, we can now appreciate our beautiful custom content item. This time it was a portrait of 2 little corgis, but what it may be next time, who knows? Totally up to you. Alright guys, at this point you are ready to make your own custom content. If you want this photo in your game, I am going to leave a link down below to where you can download this. I've shared it through Mediafire, so just click the link. You have to wait a few seconds and then you can just download it. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. If you guys want to see more videos in the future on making other custom content items, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Let me know that you guys like it and it's what you want to see. Other than that, I do hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. I hope that you go out and try to make your own custom content and that you make it back here for the next one. All right, y'all. Take it easy.